This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
Welcome into the Walk-Thru, week 9 already, and we are in the same place as always, Triple F Paige Dauer alongside Jesse Smithey. I can't believe how fast this season is going by.
Yeah, the way I know we're like deep into the seasons, I walked into Triple F tonight and they had like the witch demon thing over there by the door.
It's very scary. Every year it scares me.
And they are very festive here, and it'll just be a matter of time before the Christmas stuff is up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that got me tonight when I walked in.
I was like, oh, sorry, sir. And
But it's an amazing place, and definitely have a lot going on here tonight. Always Monday night is their Bible study. The pizzas have been delivered. All the kids, more kids here tonight than I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, and just always doing big things here at Triple F.
Yeah, always good to see that positive sign of growth. I want to go back to last week real quick because some of your picks, they paid off. Others, I was like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah, there were a lot of what was that last week.
So let's start with Kingston. That was a solid win, 28-3 over Scott. You, of course, picked Kingston to win in this game. Did they do what you thought they were going to do to get this win?
Yeah, they did. I think they won that game 28-3 and went up there and ran the football extremely well. Tayshawn Hamilton had over 100 yards rushing in that game. That's their big senior running back. And I think he had a little bit of injuries earlier in the year. I think he's overcome that. That's a good sign for Kingston. Scott, not completely out of the playoff picture. Remember, we've given them a couple shout-outs in the shout-out section of this show for putting themselves in position to have a winning season again, get back into the postseason again. I think they had hopes of knocking off Kingston that night and maybe even muddying up the waters in that region, possibly getting a 1 seed. That's not going to happen now. But Kingston has the opportunity now with Alcoa out of the way to ascend to one of those 1 seeds and see what they can do in the playoffs. So they've got a lot of work to do. There's some other teams that could get in the way, but again, position A, good things going for Kingston right now.
Yeah, we certainly have a lot of shout outs coming up as well, and a very nice guest interview coming up in a couple of segments. First, let's get to Seymour. Solid win, 50-22 over Northview. 4th win on the season. Most in quite some time.
Yeah, Caleb Olive doing big things already in year 1 at Seymour High School. They hired him from the Tullahoma program out of the mid-state. He was successful there, helped win them a state championship, and he's come over and made an immediate impact at Seymour. Are they in the playoffs yet? Not yet.
Yeah.
They're kind of right there on the precipice of it, right there on the cusp. They're going to need some help maybe from another team. They're going to need to knock off a team maybe they shouldn't. But the hope is not lost, and for them to be in this position in week 9 is a huge feather in the cap of Caleb Olive and that program, maybe going into year number 2 saying, hey, we were right in the mix of things there late in the season, and maybe, who knows, maybe they do it.
Yeah, I kind of like that outlook that you have on that team. Stone Memorial, good win, 42-8 over Livingston Academy. What does that win do for their outlook?
So Stone Memorial is kind of right over there at the plateau in Crossville, and sometimes that can be a forgotten about place. And so much we focus on the Anderson counties, the Greenvilles, the Elizabethans of the world in that classification. Meanwhile, Stone Memorial has knocked off defending state champion Macon County. They beat a very good Livingston Academy team. Noah Potter, their quarterback, is putting up incredible numbers. There's some people that are saying he should be in the Mr. Football conversation. We'll see if that happens in a couple of weeks. But it's absolutely imperative that here in week 9 we talk about Stone Memorial as a team that could be a 1 seed in the 4A bracket, and who knows, we might see them in a big matchup, second, third round game with some teams from around here.
Yeah, I like that, Jesse. we mentioned at the very top of the show, like, what just happened? How did this happen? This was one game you did not see going in the direction that it did. Oliver Springs gets upset by Midway, 32-26.
Paige, at one point, Midway was up 32-6 in that game in the fourth quarter, and then it came down to the final play. Oliver Springs finally woke up. They scored, onside kicked it, got it, scored again. Onside kicked it, got it, scored again, 3 consecutive touchdowns, and they're right back in it. It's 32-26 with 5 minutes to go. And so with 5 minutes to go, they're going, well, we're not going to onside kick it. Might as well kick it deep. Well, Midway just put on a masterclass of how to kill the clock in that, and they had a really good running back, 2 really good running backs to do that. Finally turned it over on downs with about 20 seconds left, forced Oliver Springs to throw, got an interception. So Ron Treadway went back to that program at Midway and helped stabilize it, and now they're in a position to possibly make the postseason. That's a big win for them. I think 3 or 4 wins in a row for Midway, so tip of the cap to Green Wave.
Yeah, what can a win like that at this point in the season do for a team's momentum and confidence?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you already had playmakers like Tate Mason, who had been our player of the week a week or 2 ago, but when you knock off a team like that, they go, okay, maybe we're actually legit now.
Yeah.
It's not just some rebuild season under Ron Treadway. Maybe we can actually get into the postseason and win a couple games. So the self-belief for Midway right now has to be through the roof.
Oh, I would imagine it would be. Another one that I'm just like, this, okay, so I thought the Oliver Springs Midway had some interesting things happen in the fourth quarter. Grace Christian and Sevier County had nothing but interesting and mind-boggling plays that happened here for Grace Christian to get the biggest upset of the season.
Well, first off, there was the viral video play of Bryson Hedrick, number 0 for Sevier County. Home run ball down the sidelines. He kind of reaches back, he bobbles it, kicks it with his foot like a hacky sack back over his head, catches it in stride, runs in for a touchdown. I mean, Overtime's picking it up, Max Preps is picking it up. Every high school outlet out there that's putting it ends up on Sports Center, I think.
I think so.
In the top 5, and rightfully so. It's just one of the most insane catches I've ever seen. But that's totally Bryson Hedrick.
Yeah.
What he does, he always makes big plays, whether it's as a receiver, a kick blocker, a kick returner, whatever. So that was not out of the ordinary for Bryson Hedrick to be involved in that play. And then later in the game, Grace Christian comes back with a tip ball catch at midfield, and you're just kind of like, what is this game right now? And it was just a game of big plays all around, and that's what both teams are known for. Sevier County, during its 21-game win streak, as I wrote on the site, had conjured up so many magical moments and comebacks in its stadium. You think about the Powell win in the second round of the playoffs last year, the Greenville win earlier this year. And Sevier County got the ball with like 2.5 minutes to go. They just turned the ball over on downs by Grace Christian. They're only down a couple of points. You're thinking, okay, they got the ball last. They're going to go down and score. This is going to be Sevier County winning another game that it maybe shouldn't have, but it's going to because it's Sevier County. And they got near the red zone in no time at all. I mean, still had over a minute left to burn. And then things started going awry. There's an incomplete pass. There was a big sack that Cooper Newman took that knocked him out of field goal range. And then on the final play, he miraculously avoided the sack. I mean, he should have been sacked, but his mobility allowed him to at least get out of the pocket and get off a throw 50 yards down to the end zone. But that time it didn't fall into the hands of a Sevier County wide receiver. And Grace Christian, coming off a 2-game losing streak, knocked off the defending state champions and went nuts, as they should have.
Yes.
And they got a huge game this Friday night. We'll see if they can parlay all this kind of newfound momentum into a big win.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Bryce credited the team's resilience to hold on to that win.
It's unbelievable what they've done this year. I mean, we continue to talk about it. The games they shouldn't be winning, they are. The resilience of the team, the players, the coaches, they've done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, absolutely. When we come back, we have the shout outs to give from week 8, what's happening in week 9, and our guest interview. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our. When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back into the Walk-Thru. Paige Dauer, Jesse Smithey. This segment where we do our shout-outs, it's very quickly becoming my favorite segment of the show.
It might become its own segment eventually because I keep adding to it each and every week, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. But it's our shout-out section of the show. And I'm not a coffee guy. I can't do coffee. I do Celsius, no free ads on the show. They're not paying me. But there's a gas station that I go to always restock.
Yes.
And today I walk in, I have this shirt on, and a guy strikes up a conversation with me, said he's a watcher of our show. His name's Marcus from out there in Sweetwater. So shout out to Marcus.
Yeah.
It made my day. I told you, sometimes it gets rough on social media. We get beat up. And the fact that he said he enjoys watching our stuff and watching the show and following 5-Star Preps made my day. So appreciate that, Mark.
No, that's definitely the types of commentary and compliments you need to keep pushing if you don't have your Celsius.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to our second shout out. I want to head over a little close to town to Bearden Girls Basketball. One of their star players is committing.
Yeah, Natalia Hodge committed Sunday night to Missouri.
Okay.
And Missouri was one of our final 7 schools, so Kelly Harper, it was cool. Natalia had this video where she's committing inside of Bearden High School's locker room. It flips over to the Missouri coach's office, and it's Kelly Harper and everything, and so they're all celebrating. And that's a huge get for Missouri basketball, especially getting someone out of Knoxville where you just were the head coach. And Natalia is a top 100 player in the country. She's a 2-time Miss Basketball finalist. She was our 5-Star Preps Girls Player of the Year this past year, and a 2-time 5-Star Preps Underclassmen Player of the Year. You're talking about one of the more accomplished players in East Tennessee high school basketball. So congrats, Natalia. I know she'll do great things up there, but that was a big shout out for her on Sunday night.
Yeah, big move for her. Let's go to a couple of volleyball shout outs. Let's start with Lakeway. They got their first region title recently.
First region title. That means they get a region bye, a sub-state bye, or first round bye. So they'll be playing, I think, on Saturday this week. But there's so much going on right now, state golf and football and soccer, and we weren't able to cover them on Saturday. But I did want to give them a shout out. The Lady Lions up there at Lakeway getting that first ever region title. And speaking of first evers, you got William Blunt getting its first ever district tournament championship. And I remember in the preseason doing our previews, there was just 4 or 5 girls, 6 girls from William Blunt. And you're going, okay, they might have something this year. But there's always Farragut out there in the way, or Maryville in the way, or what have you. But the Lady Govs got it done, and we'll see if they can take that into the region tournaments this week and get some more firsts. Yeah,
and you mentioned so many sports that are happening right now. Another one of the sports that's happening is golf, and there's a couple of teams in that mix.
We had 3 state champions last week. We had the CAK girls repeating as state champions in Division II Single A. We had the Greenville girls winning their first ever state championship in program history. And then you had First Baptist Academy up there in Powell won the Division IIA Boys Championship in their first, that's their first state title. So it was a busy week down in Sevierville.
Yeah, big night on Friday night against Maryville and George
Quarles. Yeah, he's a longtime coach at Maryville. During their heyday, when they went crazy, 74-game win streak, won 11 state championships while he was there. They're going to be honoring him this Friday night at their game against Science Hill, and that's going to be awesome to have him back. I wish you could have covered his teams. You're talking about the epitome of class and just Christian man, and I remember being afraid when they lost the 08 state championship game that ended their 74-game win streak. And I was like, I've never interviewed George after a loss. Ever. Like, what's he going to be like? It's the exact same. Just felt like I was interviewing him after a win, and that says a lot about the character of the man, and it's going to be awesome to have him back in Blount County on Friday night. Yeah, that's going to make that game that much more big. I can't wait to be out there. It's going to be so good. We're going to turn our attention now to the Week 9 preview. Still to come is that special guest interview that we have coming up next segment.
A lot of good games happening in week 9. You mentioned earlier, region standings, getting ready for the playoffs. One that's always a good time is Central and Halls. That's a Thursday game as well. Halls has won their last 3 games.
Back from the dead.
Yes.
I didn't know if I would see it. I'd hoped to see it because there was so much promise with this Halls football team in the preseason, and you saw all the stars that they have, the guys getting Division I offers and whatnot, and it just didn't start off right for them this year. But the fact that they've been able to rally the troops and get themselves in the position to play rival Central for the second place in that region is huge. I mean, you got to really give the kids at Halls kudos. But you look at Central and you're going, okay, they've played better for longer. Do they have the edge in this game? And maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But it's a game that I think is going to attract a lot of viewers on Thursday night. It's called the Battle of Black Oak Ridge. It's a storied rivalry game, and I can't wait for it.
Yes, another good matchup that we could potentially have is Hardin Valley at Oak Ridge. So Oak Ridge is 7-0 on the year. More impressively, they're averaging 34 points a game.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted to have this game on our kind of preview here is I want everybody, including myself, to keep an eye out on what Oak Ridge does. Yes. We've detailed their injury troubles over the last few weeks. Demillion Porter, is he going to be back? He went down with a leg injury in that game against Bearden 2 weeks ago. We'll see kind of what the status is with him. Still think Will Presley, the wide receiver out of Oak Ridge, is going to be out for a few more weeks. I think it was a collarbone. Now, I don't know the extent of that injury, but typically those are 4 to 6 week recovery times, and he came back from one last year. But you don't want to come back too soon because collarbones break and re-break very easily. So can be delicate how they handle that situation. But that's the kind of thing to look for on Friday night, because Oak Ridge very much wants to compete with Maryville in week 11 for that region championship. Well, they have to win these games now, and with a little bit of a depleted roster. Yeah,
we talked earlier about Grace Christian, the massive win that they got over Sevier County. They're now going to take on CAK, who has been leading the series for quite some time. But what would you say is the most intriguing aspect to this matchup?
Well, there are 2 programs that have dealt with injuries to their starting quarterback, and the fact that they're still kind of kicking in the mix for a prime playoff seeding here in week 9 says a lot about their coaching staffs, and again, the resiliency of the kids involved. CAK got a huge transfer in the offseason with Ryan Gibson. He's a young man who rushed for 1,500 yards at Seymour, and he's been doing the same at CAK. So they're going to try to run the football with him. Grace is going to try to run the football with J.V. Stinson and Jay Spallard. So I think you'll see a lot of the same strategies. And it's one of the marquee matchups of week 9, second seed out of that region on the line.
Then we can go to Alcoa and Heritage. I think this is their first meeting in like almost a decade.
Right.
But what can we expect out of a Joe Ossovet-led Heritage team?
Joe is going to have them fired up, and that's for sure. There's no question about that. And you're right. These 2 teams, normally we might see them play in a jamboree over the last 8 or 9 years. It's been since 2016 that they've squared off, and now they're doing it as a region game. So that's cool that 2 schools right there in the same county are going to be playing a region game, a meaningful region game. Alcoa has not lost to a league opponent in well over a decade.
Yeah, were any of us alive yet?
Heritage, but this has been a season of upsets, so we kind of keep that on alert. Alcoa coming in off of a bye week, I believe, so we'll see how ready they are. Hopefully there's no rust and we get a really good, clean football game.
Yeah, we talked about this team last week, I believe it was, or the week before. It's McCallie now taking on Catholic this time. McCallie's 8-0 in the series. They're the 2-time defending champions. You talk about region standings and implications. Well, it's in this matchup for sure.
And Catholic put themselves in a bind by losing that game to NBA a couple of weeks ago. That's a game they should have won. Probably still kicking themselves for letting that game slide. And that was a region game that they could have had and improved their standing and their stock. Now they're in a situation where in 2 of the last 3 weeks, they're going to have to play McCallie and Baylor. And everybody in the world is going to be picking Catholic to lose those football games. So this is a key moment for Catholic to, if you can't beat McCallie, at least show well. Don't get blown out. At least have some self-belief and some, okay, maybe we didn't beat McCallie, but we played them close. Maybe we see them again and we get them next time. So we need to see that fight out of Catholic, because they didn't do it on the scoreboard against Ainsworth a week or so ago.
Yeah, absolutely not. Well, we're going to turn our attention to our guest interview. Jesse Smithey had a chance to sit down with the Concord Christian head coach, and Steve Matthews will have that and our week 9 picks coming up next.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Welcome back to the Walk-Thru presented by Triple F. Jesse Smithey now joined by Steve Matthews, head football coach at Concord Christian School out in Farragut. And Steve, appreciate you joining me on the program. A special shout out to you for joining us on the show on your birthday. So
I appreciate you having me.
Finally in your 40s and
yeah, right. That was a great birthday present. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch from afar, and we're hopeful to get our kind of another look at Concord Christian later on this week. But to watch this program grow under you, and I'm sure there's fun days, I'm sure there's hard days, but just right now, just 10,000 foot view, where is Concord Christian football?
I really like where we are. I think our trajectory is headed straight up. Last year was JV season.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely a learning experience for me. Some players brand new to the game, not just learning what to do. This year, able to bring in some young guys, some freshmen, a couple transfers, playing our first varsity season. Have ended up kind of a tough schedule. Two teams in our region ended up dropping out. But, I'm loving it. It's one of those things that I say, once this thing gets going and we accomplish what I think we're going to accomplish, it's going to be a great achievement for me. But I don't ever want to do it again. It's one of those things where it's been a lot of ups and downs, but very excited about where we're headed.
Yeah, when coaches do take over a program and they go, okay, this is my chance to put my fingerprints on this program, build it up from the ground up. I'm sure in their mind that seems like really awesome, and I'm sure there's parts where you get to do that, but what are the challenges of it?
The challenges is everything's so new, and I'm very fortunate at Concord. We have a great administration and support staff around me that help with so much of these little things that go on. But just everything's brand new of, hey, who do we call for this? Who do we call for bus? Who do we call for, where we're playing our games right now is kind of an issue. How's our practice schedule? Painting the field, the equipment, all those little things that an established program really doesn't think about because it's already started is stuff that we're dealing with. But I feel like we've kind of got a good thumb on it now. And again, really like where we're headed.
When you look at yourself, I mean, how much have you had to learn, or not learn, but put patience into play? Because you did come from a championship program at Catholic. You won multiple state championships, and I'm sure you want this program to get there, but there's still many steps to go.
Yeah, well, I at first I did that. I felt like I was almost too patient, letting too much slide and letting too many things go that I knew weren't the right way to do things, kind of making excuses in my head. Hey, these guys are young, they're freshmen, or they're sophomores, or they're new to the game. And after the CAK game, I was like, I'm doing these guys a disservice, not pushing them the way that I push the guys at Catholic, and push some of my former players. And so I really, as a coaching staff, I think we started to push them more, expect more, started to play at a higher standard. And I think the results have shown up on the field.
Speaking of results, I know you guys have gotten a couple wins. I get the texts on Friday nights or Saturdays when you play about, hey, so-and-so did this, we got this win. To see the wins be put up on the scoreboard, how much is that a gratifying moment and also kind of push you towards more?
Yeah, it just makes me proud. I talked to maybe 5 or 6 coaches around the state that have started up programs, and hey, what can I expect, going into this? Well, you're not going to win a game for 3 seasons. Be ready for that. Can you handle that? And I was like, oh gosh, that doesn't sound great. 0-30. But I was like, I think we got a shot here. We're young, but the guys are working hard. A good group of young men, a fantastic school. That I think some of the nicest people I've ever met are at this school. And so we want to represent the school by having a great product on the field, and extremely proud of our wins. And even looking back at our losses, a play here and a play there, and things could really be doing well.
How much have you seen East Tennessee open up its doors to your program? I know you've told me you've played games at Carson Newman or down in Gatlinburg. Just the open arm and kind of welcomeness of East Tennessee high school football.
Yeah, Coach Gaddis was my high school coach in Tennessee, and We're using Blankenship twice, so that's nice of him. Although every time I call him, he reminds me of a bad throw I made in a state semifinal game, so I got to listen to that. But yeah, Carson Newman has been great. It was absolutely fantastic out of Carson Newman. Use their locker room, the big video board, and having all the amenities of a college atmosphere, and then going to Gatlinburg Pittman to play on Saturday. So yeah, we've kind of been nomads. This Friday we're at 2:30. We have a field but no lights. So we're playing at 2:30 this Friday versus South Green. So, shockingly, that part's been kind of easy.
That's going to be a fun game, I think. You said some kids from the school could possibly empty out and get out there in the bleachers and watch an afternoon game. And to talk about this team, though, you said young multiple times already tonight. Take us through the roster, kind of some of the kids that have really impressed despite their ages.
On offense, the first one stands out. It's an 8th grader. Is Eli Wolf is starting at guard for us. I believe we're starting 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 freshmen. Maurice Smith, a running back, and Don Underwood, and Dasani Molden and Kobe Ward at quarterback, and some other guys sprinkled in there. So it's a lot of freshmen and sophomores. We have 2 seniors on offense, 2 seniors on defense, and so a young team that's learning the game. But it is fun seeing how we like to practice and the different things culturally that we like to do, the way they're adapting to that has been very, very rewarding for me.
Any names on the coaching staff that our viewers may know?
Benji Schuler would be one that comes out. He's Schuler's little brother, and it's a small world. I was playing at Tennessee, and David Cutcliffe was my coach, and he called me in the office one day and said, "Steve, you're doing great. I think you can play in the NFL one day." I was like, "Wow, that's amazing, Coach." Because I got some bad news, though. We just signed a guy named Heath Schuler, so you're probably not ever going to play at Tennessee. And so I ended up transferring, playing in the NFL. And, of course, Heath Schuler was a first-round draft pick and all that. So Benji Schuler, Drew Franklin is our defensive coordinator. He's been with me at Catholic forever. And so and Brandon Barber and Kevin Winslet and Eric Todd and Austin Lynch. We have a really good staff. I've always keep a small staff. Just 7 or 8 guys. I even did that when I was at Catholic. So, but really like our staff and really enjoy working with these young men.
You got some guys, former players at Catholic, that are starting to get into instruction. Amari Rogers is a wide receivers coach here at Triple F. What can you tell people out there about Amari Rogers? Amari
is one of my all-time favorite guys. Extremely hard worker. I remember we used to go in to staff meetings on Sundays. And we had a big hill there on campus, and you'd see Mari with a weighted vest, a weighted ball, up and down that hill on a Sunday, all by himself. Nobody else with him, and just working on his game. And he's one of my all-time favorite guys I've ever coached, and just a great young man, and extremely happy for all his success.
I always try to tell our watchers, and especially parents who have kids who are wide receivers, to come see Amari because of his work ethic. But I think it coming from you probably rings a little more true than it does from me. But I just remember watching him one time when he was getting ready for the draft and for a season at Clemson. Just watching him work out one day was unbelievable. So
he's great. We went to a Mr. Football award banquet, and looking at me, obviously I couldn't wait for the dessert.
Yeah.
And I ate the dessert, and he wouldn't touch his. Like, no, I don't. Wow. He's probably a 17-year-old kid with, having that discipline not to eat a chocolate cake at a Mr. Football award banquet. So he's one in a million.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I appreciate you joining us on the program. Looking forward to getting out there on Friday. See you guys take on South Green. Steve Matthews of Concord Christian joined us here on the Walk-Thru at Triple F. Don't go anywhere. We got more to come on the show.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
was a preview or a look at the region standings, and some of those races are incredibly tight. It kind of reminds me of, the cliche that you hear from coaches or, from Josh Heupel that says, the margin of victory, it's razor thin. The standings are razor thin, and you see it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the games that we'll talk about in our predictions will be involved in some of these tight region races, or those races for the number 2 spots, or maybe just trying to get into the playoffs. That's what's so exciting about this time of the year, that we'll get in week 9, and who knows, here in a couple of weeks, man, we'll be doing our playoff war room show right here at Triple F. We love doing that, and I invite everybody to tune in on that Friday night, and that's a Halloween night, I believe.
Yeah.
But make some time for the War Room. We'll be doing shows all night long and keeping everybody up to date on who's in, who's out, and taking a look at the playoff brackets. It's one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah, no, and that's probably like one of your best shows too. It's so engaging. It's like so fast paced. Let's turn our attention though to the picks for week 9. We can go to Central and Halls. We talked about them last segment, but Central leads it 35-17. They have a really strong season right now. Are they a more proven team, and do they take this game, or does a hot streak continue for Halls?
What makes me nervous is I haven't seen Halls in person during this win streak, so I can't put my finger on, okay, this is why they're winning now, as opposed to why they haven't been or weren't early in the season. So I know Central has really good defensive backs. I know that, and they're going to be able to battle with the Brody Rogers of the world and Jarrell Chandlers. And again, I just think Central's body of work this year, and that win on the road, coming off the Powell loss, the win on the road at McMinn County really showed me the maturity of that team and what it can handle and can't handle, and it won that football game. It's a tough one. So I like Central to win that football game, but again, Halls is back from the dead. They're going to be fighting for that number 2 seed and a possible home playoff game. It's going to be a fun one.
What will be a fun one for sure, I'm thinking, is Jefferson County and Powell. So Powell's undefeated, but Jefferson County, they're only allowing 16 points a game.
Yeah, and that's been crazy to see. And we admitted on the show that we kind of slept on Jefferson County, and then they lost that week.
There we go.
We finally gave them a little shout out, and then they lost that game to Dobbins Bennett. But this is an opportunity for both teams to get better. Jefferson County's in 6A, Powell's in 5A. This has no kind of region implication, but it's a late season game, and Jefferson County, you don't want to get blown out. Powell doesn't want to lose, so both teams want to take some momentum into the last couple of weeks of the regular season and possibly postseason. So it's just a fun matchup that we don't get to see too often. I don't think these two programs have played since the 70s. You and I weren't born then.
Yeah, I was trying to look. I'm like, is this their first meeting? I couldn't find
serious
history
anyway. When I looked it up, it was like Jefferson City or Jefferson. It might not even been called Jefferson County High School. So it's been a long time. So kind of a cool late season matchup.
Yeah, no, I love that. Let's go back to Grace and CAK.
Oh, I picked Powell. I'm picking Powell in that game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I forgot to make my pick.
Let me double check, double circle that. All right, let's make sure we make our pick here, because I'm intrigued to see where you'll go with Grace Christian and CAK. What is going to be like that game-defining moment, you think, for either one of these teams to walk away with the win?
Yeah, I think I'm taking Grace Christian.
Okay.
I'm hard-headed. I picked against them multiple times this year, and I'm not going to do it this time, and I may not do it anymore. What they've been able to do just schematics-wise with their guys is really impressive. Now, on the flip side, CAK has had a much better season than I think anybody maybe predicted them to have.
Yeah.
And that's been awesome to watch. And Chad Speck, the head football coach out there, has done a fantastic job with that program. Again, we talked about the injuries they've had to their starting quarterback and the new pieces that have come into the program, and that's hard.
Yeah.
You're losing a guy that you're going to count on. You got a new guy that you want everybody to embrace and work alongside. So that staff has done a great job of getting CAK to this point. But the wins that Grace Christian has, the effort that they play with, the offensive line that they have, I think will be the key in that game. A lot of people, including myself, are kind of waking up to that Grace Christian offensive line.
It certainly was the difference against Sevier County, and
was.
that led to a massive upset. Clinton and South Doyle. What do you need to know?
Lots of points.
Okay.
This is going to be a fun game. Like, if you're just looking for a game for big touchdowns and home run balls, and
If
just
you want to be entertained.
this is the entertaining game, I think, of week 9. This is a coin flip game for me. This means I'm really struggling with this game.
Yeah.
Clinton probably hasn't had the season that they wanted because they showed so well in the preseason, and just the wins haven't been there. This is an opportunity for them to get a win. I'm going to go with South Doyle in this game.
Hey.
I'm going to go with South Doyle and the Cherokees to win that football game. No. But
Okay.
The over under.
51-49.
I'll set the over under at 105.5, and I think it's going to cover the over.
Oh my. Okay, over 105.
105.5. Got to get that 0.5.
Okay, yeah, that does make a big
Legit.
difference. Oh my gosh, okay, I can't wait for that final score. West and William Blunt, it's their first meeting in about a decade. A lot has changed since that last meeting. Does William Blunt come in and continue, their ways? Does West have enough defense that they can slow them down?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting chess match. West doesn't have maybe the high-profile passing game to really carve up a William Blunt defense. They have really good running backs, solid offensive line play, and then we always talk about West defense. And that West defense is going to be key in stopping Jackson Dabrowski at quarterback.
Yeah.
And the kind of residual memory in my mind of the last time I saw William Blunt is just Jackson Dabrowski doing what he wanted to
Unreal
do
things.
on Heritage, and that kind of unreal win that they had against Heritage. So this is a chance for William Blunt to really prove itself in where it is this year against one of the state's best and one of East Tennessee's best. And I think they're going to have their moments.
Okay.
But I think West is back a little bit. I'm not saying they're all the way back. But again, it's the standard that West
And
has
on the road.
that has about itself that they don't want to lose.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a back and forth game. But in the end, I'm taking the West Rebels.
You're taking a lot of road teams this week.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
3-2. That would be majority.
Okay.
We'll see. You love a road warrior, I guess.
I'll get burned probably on one or two.
Can't wait for that. All right, well, that was a great week 9 of the Walk-Thru. We'll have so much coming up Thursday and Friday night to keep you updated on all things happening around East Tennessee. For high school football, we'll be back next week for week 10.
This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.